Hello everyone. Well, today we're going to demonstrate the weathering pencils. The weathering pencils are a tool that is extremely versatile, easy to use, and they provide great results. However, I feel like they're sometimes maybe underutilized due to some unfamiliarity as to how to use them and what they can do for your modeling. There are a number of methods on how to use or apply the pencils, and we'll cover them all here. A few simple tools will be helpful: paintbrush, some water, and a pencil sharpener. Now, whether you've collected the pencils individually, or perhaps you've bought a few of these themed packs of colors, or you've gone out and got the entire range, well, the application methods are exactly the same and are universal throughout. For best results, the surface of your model should be painted in a matte finish, as this will provide the necessary texture for the pencils to transfer their colors onto your surface. If your model, say, is painted using Generation 3 acrylics or real colors, the finish will be perfect. If using a semi-gloss or a gloss surface, you may experience some difficulties when, I'll call it, writing directly onto the surface. To fix this or rectify this situation, a light coating of matte varnish over the gloss surface will provide the necessary texture for direct application of the pencils. When speaking of direct application, this refers to what I call drawing or writing directly onto the surface of the model, just using the pencil to literally draw onto the surface of the model. In this example, I'll use the drawing technique to add some wear and chipping and even some edge profiling to the top edge of this AFV. This type of an application, drawing directly onto the surface with the weathering pencils, is appropriate for many different types of solutions. For instance, adding small chips and scratches, anything you would like, say, a hard edge. However, in other situations, these types of effects might seem a little harsh or even unrealistic. It's at this point that water and a damp brush is used to, I'll call it, activate the pigment or the color of the pencils. In this case, drawing the clean brush upwards to begin, to activate the color to begin the streaking effects, and then continue to refine the effect with a damp brush. The weathering pencils can also be used to define surface details, similar to a pen wash. Here, I simply outline the area using a darker color, and then follow this with a damp brush, brushing the color inwards into the recesses in order to outline the features. Now let's apply some heavier weathering effects onto these road wheels. In this application technique, I begin by dampening the surface of the model with water. Now it's not flooded, it's just damp. And next, I just simply draw using the pencil onto the damp surface. This activates the color from the pencils, but I have some nice precision. The colors of the pencils can be combined or layered to create complex effects, whether that be dirt or mud effects, or scratches or rust stains. Finally, it should be noted that the weathering pencils and their effects will remain able to be manipulated or refined over time with the use of a damp brush, similar to what we've already done before. If the effects created by the pencils up to this point is your final step, there is no need for any type of protective varnish. However, if your future weathering includes, say, water-based filters or a wash, a varnish will protect the pencil effects because they're water-based and will activate or reactivate the pencils. If your plan is to continue weathering, say, using enamels or oils, then there will be no need for any sort of protective base, as it is a water-based product versus an oil-based or enamel-based product. In this example, using the weathering pencils, we'll add some dirt and grime effects onto this concrete wall. And please stay to the end, as I will show you some nice tricks to add a little bit of unique character and touches to your scenes. To begin, I highlight the exposed metal areas with a rust color, using a damp brush to distribute the colors. Now this is the rebar, so it's rusted out. One additional technique or application that can be used with the weathering pencils is to dip the tip of the pencil directly into the water, thus activating the color. When doing this, the color application becomes nearly the same as a brush painting acrylic colors onto the model, as the water aids in the flow and distribution of the colors. As you become more experienced and comfortable with the using of the weathering pencils, you will find yourself easily transitioning from one application technique to another. For instance, direct writing onto the model blending with a damp brush, or wet applications. It is this combination of techniques and textures and the versatility of the pencils that will really bring your models to the next level. And this is the precision you can get with the weathering pencils that very, very difficult to do with, say, a regular paintbrush. On this instance, on this example, on this concrete wall, I wanted to add some color, maybe even a bit of humor. So I've got this 𝐏𝐂 painting mask, have the 𝐏𝐂 logo on it. I'm going to use the pencils to add some graffiti, basically drawing simply within the template of the logo to create this effect. With those colors in place, I just use a damp brush to blend and diffuse, just a slight amount of water here, also adding to a few paint drips just kind of running down the wall. And then finally, one last note, if you watched any of the preceding videos, when you do the pencil shavings, when you sharpen your pencil, nothing needs to go to waste. Do it over a little container, keep the remnants, those are pure color. Just add some of the water from your paintbrush, mix it up a little bit, and put those directly onto the model as you would with simply an acrylic color. Nothing goes to waste here. In this example of the weathering pencils, we're going to focus upon using the metallic colors specifically to create the chipping and wear effects so often associated with World War II combat aircraft. However, let's define the panel lines first. In this case, I've chosen to use a dark color. Your choice of panel line colors, well, that depends on your paint scheme and what you're trying to do. Perhaps you'd like to use a light dust color onto a dark navy blue, and that would be more appropriate. Here I'm using a pencil with a sharp tip. It's easy to follow the recessed panel lines, adding definition and contrast. Just that easy. You may notice in this example with the aircraft that as compared to some of the other application techniques that I've gone through on using the weathering pencils, that I'm not using water in this case. And that's because I want to take advantage of the sharp edges that the pencils create. I want those chips to be vibrant and have a nice edge onto them. I hope you've enjoyed this small little glimpse into what weathering pencils can do, say on an aircraft here, to giving the panel lines and the scuff marks.